do I leave my property to film for any YouTube video, but I decided to go out of my comfort zone for this activity and head to the beach to do some seashell collecting. At the time I filmed this, it was early March, and with the wind chill, it was extremely cold and really not beach weather by any means. The wind was fairly strong, so my flimsy, cheap tripod was having quite the struggle and lost its battle with the wind a few times. The one good thing about it was that the beach was basically empty, which meant I could film myself in peace without feeling too self-conscious. While I was gathering small little shells, I realized I forgot to bring a bag with me to put them in, so I had to put them in my pockets and hope they didn't get broken or something in there. It's extremely windy out today. I did not think it would be this cold and this windy. That's March for you. I figured while I'm here I'll just take some pictures of the lighthouse and a few other spaces for painting. I was mainly looking for the conch style shells as those are my favorite, but it was rather tough to find them amongst all the rocks and scallop shells. In the end, I got a good bunch of them together and put them in one of my little glass jars and placed it on my shelf. I didn't get as many as I would have liked, but I'll continue to fill it with little shells as I find them during future beach adventures. Hey there! So today's activity is actually one that I started in season 1. It didn't get finished, so we're going to be circling back around to that one today. For this one, I had originally learned Perfume's Polygon Wave, which was a recent release at the time, but unfortunately, my back's been acting up. I threw my back out in October while I was working on one of my dance projects for my dance channel, and I think I've definitely probably slipped a disc. I don't know if it's the same one that I've had problems with in the past or if it's a different one. I'm going to be having an MRI this upcoming week. I've been waiting for it since October, so I'm actually kind of excited to finally have answers about my back. There was a period of time in October to November where my back was so painful that I couldn't do basic tasks, let alone dance. So I've been putting this activity off, just sort of waiting for my back to mellow out enough that I can do something like this. Polygon Wave involves a lot of hip movement, a lot of lower spine stuff going on, so I thought I would scrap that and learn a more recent release that will be easier on my lower back. Niju's latest single, Paradise, just dropped recently. They uploaded the dance practice a few days ago, so I'm going to be learning the chorus of that. I know it's weird, but I'm kind of nervous. I love you. I love you so much. Yeah. I love you so. I love you so. What the hell? 1, 2, 3. You have to like raise your arm while doing it, and it's just, it's weird. Oh, okay, so the light comes in briefly and then it pops back out. There's not as much hip movement, there's not a lot of like bending forward or bending too far back, so I think it should be relatively easy for me to learn this one. What's making me move their hand? I believe with Polygon Wave, I originally intended on learning the whole choreography, or at least the majority of it. I can't remember, it's been so long ago now. But for this one, I'm only going to be learning the chorus because I think if it's a small section of the song and I'm not moving too much, I think it'll be less harsh on my back. My back won't flare up so bad. And that's sort of what my priority is right now. I do want to do this. It's just I want to do it in a way that's still safe for my back and doesn't cause me like major pain later. I'm stiff. because recently when my back has felt better, I've tried dancing again and returning to dance projects that I've had to put on hold because of my back problems. And I feel fine for the first maybe like hour or two after I've finished a dance session, but then it's like it flares up really bad and it's so painful. I can't sleep, I can't sit. Like sometimes it just takes a while, but then it catches up with me, and that's what I'm trying to avoid today. I can't remember what comes next. Oh. So we're just going to be learning the chorus. We're going to be making it simple, easy, and hopefully it'll go well and my back won't hate me by the end of it. I'm gonna do the second chorus, I think, instead of the first one. What is happening here? Oh yeah, there is a hip movement there. When this song was first announced and they started showing like teasers for it and stuff like that, and I realized it was going to be a ballad, I lost all excitement for the choreo. Niju's previous single, Blue Moon, was also a ballad, but it was, I think, a little bit more like, it had more of a beat to it, I think. And so when it had a really nice choreo, I wasn't entirely surprised. But isn't it T-Rex? I can't tell. No, I think it becomes da, 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 da. When it comes to Paradise though, this song actually has a really cool choreography. It gave me those feelings, you know what I mean? When you see a really cool dance and you're like, I want to learn that. But unfortunately, most of the choreography is sort of more on the complicated side in terms of how it would affect my back and the amount of movements that I'm not able to do at the moment. Ow, that hurt my back. So I can't learn the whole song right now, but it's definitely like once my back is better, I will be able to hopefully circle back around to this and learn the whole thing eventually. I'm just really surprised that this song had such nice choreography. Like it feels like it goes really well with it, but at the same time it feels like it doesn't. Like when I'm watching the video, it feels like I'm looking at a dance that was done for a completely different song and they're playing another song over top of it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it doesn't feel like it's actually supposed to be paired together, but it's lovely. It's great. I think it's awesome to watch. And typically with J-pop groups, they often don't do choreographies for ballads, and if they do a choreography, it's literally very basic, very simple. It's nothing fancy. When you have songs that are promoting something or when they're an A-side, then they do tend to get choreographies. In this case, this song is attached to a movie. It's the theme song for the new Doraemon movie. So I'm not too surprised that this song did have a choreography because it is an A-side single, it is promoting something, but I was just a little bit surprised that it's as good as it is. Do you know what I mean? Like they could have just done something super basic and simple and easy, and they didn't. They popped off, and I think that that's really great, and also that's totally what I would expect from this group at this point. My back is getting a little irritated. Ow. It didn't go well. Okay, let's try this again. I'm slow. Alrighty, that's it. When I decided to do polygon wave, I was gonna show the making and then show like a proper straight camera finished product sort of thing of me doing it properly, but I can't do that with this one because my back, I really thought that this was gonna go kind of okay, and I guess it went better than I thought it was going to. When I realized they did that like dip at the beginning, I was like, oh shit. That's gonna really suck. But actually my back doesn't hurt nearly as much as I would think it would. It's sloppy, but we're getting there. But like I said earlier, it flares up as the day goes on. So right now it feels okay-ish, but within a few hours it's gonna be screaming at me. I'm just so worried about doing it too quickly because my back is already getting irritated. I can feel it. It's telling me to stop what I'm doing. Okay, wait, so like I feel like I've got it down. It's just being able to do it quickly is tough. When I move like this, it's like I get kind of like a sharp pain here that shoots out. So then it kind of slows my movement down, because it's like when you get a pain, your body kind of freezes. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it slows me down, and I can't quickly go from this to this, because it's one hip movement to another, like immediately. And I guess the second one's not as bad because it's mostly in my knees, but this first one sets the tone for the whole thing. And when I chose this song, I totally forgot about that part, because most of the song I'm upright. I'm not bending too far forward. I'm not bending too far back. So I thought I could do it, but like I'm doing it, obviously. Like this isn't as bad as it could be. The pain right now, it's definitely been worse, but I feel like I can feel it. Like I'm really irritating the muscles back here, and whatever the issue is, the disc, it's getting angry. If that wasn't the case, I would probably have been able to not only learn the dance, but perfected it, and then filmed a proper finishing shot of me doing it. But that's just not gonna happen. Unfortunately, that's not the reality I live in right now. If I do get a chance, like if my back has improved a little bit, or it's feeling okay and I could maybe film a shot of it, then I will. But if this is up without a shot, it's because I wasn't well enough in time. My back problems are inevitable. I have degenerative disc disease. The timing of it is just what sucks. Unfortunately, it's kind of derailed my life in a lot of ways. It put on hold not just one, but two dance projects for my dance channel, and it's put on hold all kinds of things I wanted to do for this activity series that then had to be ex-nayed because it was too physically demanding and I would not have been able to do it with my back. And then there's just everyday life stuff that it's made much more difficult for me to do, or things that I just can't do at all. And dancing is one of those things. Like I love it so much. I might not be great at it, but I really love dancing, and it's one of the few forms of exercise I've ever actually connected with and thoroughly enjoyed doing. The last time I had back problems pretty bad, I gained about 30 pounds, and it took a really long time for me to lose that weight, and I felt so bad about myself during that time period. And I know that with lower spinal issues and stuff, it can be further irritated by excess weight. It's just frustrating because the things that I love doing are things I can't do right now, and so it felt good to do it today. It felt good to move. To like really move, and to learn something new, to dance again, because I really think the last time I tried dancing was January or mid-February. It was mid-February. My back hurt so bad after that, and so I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Like I really can't do it anymore. But here we are trying it again today, and I'm really happy that I did that. It was a good way to spend the afternoon and move a little bit and do something that wholeheartedly brings me joy, which was the point of this series. So no regrets. That's gonna have to do. Anyways, that's it for today's activity, and I will see you next week. Writing a letter to my future self has been on my bucket list each year since at least 2020, and I've just never got around to it. Today, I am crossing it off 2023's bucket list. I decided to write a letter to myself that I'll open 1 year from now on April 1st, 2024. I basically wrote about my current fears and worries, but also my hopes for where I'm at by the time I open this letter up and give it a read. 1 year used to feel like such a long time when I was a kid, but as an adult I've realized that a year is actually a pretty short time period and doesn't feel like nearly as long of a wait as it used to. That said, it made me wonder if a year is too short, but the chances I won't be around to read it get larger the longer the time span between writing and reading is. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to read it a year from now, but anything longer than that, and I honestly don't know if I can guarantee where I'll be or what I'll be doing, you know? So a year, as short as that seems, felt doable. And who knows, a lot can change even in a year. Maybe all my worries and fears I have now will be a thing of the past, and I'll be exactly where and what I hoped to be when I wrote it. I decorated the letter itself as well as the envelope and placed it in my journal where it's safe but also hard to misplace or forget about. I'm looking forward to reading it again in a year. Hey! So, as you can see, I'm in a completely different place. It is July. And I may have forgotten to film the last activity. So I'm actually in the middle of editing this episode, and I realized that I only had up to week 51, and I was like, that's really weird. And I was looking through my files because I could have swore that I filmed the 50-second activity, but then I checked my notes on my phone where I have like the list of all the ones I've done each month, whether those episodes have been edited and uploaded yet, and then all the remaining activity options. I have it all organized in one place. And I checked it, and sure enough, week 52 was not crossed off. So I didn't do it, even though I thought I did. The last couple months have been very much kind of both hectic, and then also like it felt like it went by really quickly and I didn't get like almost anything done at the same time. So I guess just in the chaos of everything, of moving and all that stuff, it just never got done. So rather than leaving it empty and just stopping short, I figured I would film it now, even though that's not really ideal. Like, I would have rather have had all of this done when it was supposed to be done, but you know, it would be a shame to stop short, especially when I only have one activity left. It would be kind of dumb to stop there. So for the sake of completing this series properly, I'm going to be doing that today. So for today's video, we're going to be playing an old video game. So I actually don't know what video games I have sitting in my collection downstairs. Between my two brothers and I, we shared games a lot as kids, and so like they have some of their games and I have some games, but like I don't know what I have in my possession until I go and look. So at the time of filming this up in my room, I actually don't know what I'm going to be playing today. The 3DS doesn't play those games, does it? Oh fuck, I totally forgot about that. I am missing so many games, and I have a feeling it's because my younger sibling stole a bunch of them. She used to do that all the time. Used to piss me right off. Oh, maybe, wait. Oh no, I have them hidden. Ha ha ha. Animal Doctor? Forgot about that. Super Mario. Okay, wait. Animal Doctor. I'm gonna end up just spending this whole time just organizing. Wellington test. How am I supposed to play this when it doesn't? Oh no. What am I gonna do? I mean, I guess I could play one of these instead, but I don't really want to. I was looking forward to this, man. Nintendo's gonna If this is what convinces me to get Nintendo Online, I'm gonna be so upset. I feel like I'm gonna have to because I know A Link to the Past is on there. And now I'm kind of like determined. Okay. I was trying to avoid giving them my money. Now I'm gonna do it anyway, I guess. I mean, I was gonna do it anyway. I was just waiting for them to put Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on there before I bought it, but here I am, doing it now. Where's my phone? Oh, I'm recording, that's where it is. I don't remember what my password is. When it comes to video games, I've always been a Nintendo girl, and that was kind of accidental. I think it's mostly because Nintendo is very family oriented and their consoles are a little bit cheaper than other companies because they were aiming at that mom with 3 kids. You know what I mean? Like families to be able to afford their consoles, and most importantly the idea that like the whole family could join in and all of them could play it together or individually so that the parents could also enjoy the thing that they're buying. And I think that was always Nintendo's strong suit. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, why can I not find A Link to the Past?
5 minutes later.
Found it, holy shit. See, they must have re-released it on Game Boy. Because I totally thought it was a Game Boy game because that's the one that I had. Nothing about this is working out for me today. It's a very fitting end to the series, holy shit. Awesome, let's go. Yeah. Oh, oops. Just a traditionalist like that. Want to break the jaws. Them being a company that made sure that their games, whether it was Mario games or Zelda games or the Wii Sports series, that they were always something that both young and old could enjoy individually and together. They were very accessible, is what I'm saying. So like as a kid I had a lot of Nintendo games. It wasn't something that I was like, I will only ever own Nintendo games and like I'll only ever buy Nintendo consoles. Like it's not like that, it just happened that way. But I think it also just so happened that I just really enjoyed Nintendo games because they make their games to be played by a wide range of people. Like as a kid I can enjoy Nintendo games, but as an adult I can also enjoy them. They just feel so good to play, you know what I mean? With Nintendo it's gameplay and mechanics first and foremost, and that really shows in the fact that every Nintendo game I've ever played has held up even years down the line. How do I use the sword though? Oh, it's B. Okay, fuck. Zelda's my what? Wait a minute, what was... She's my what? My sister? Man, this music's kind of annoying. So repetitive. Sort of irritating. Ocarina of Time is still a phenomenal game, despite being like 25 years old at this point, 26 years old this year I believe. Mario games are still fun even, you know, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, even though so much has changed with technology in regards to video games. The way that video games look and the way the cutscenes are done and that there's voice acting in them. Even, you know, mechanics as technology improves are very different than they were back in the day. But those older games that were much more simplistic visually and also mechanically, they're still so much fun, man. Like, I mean, I played my brother's, you know, PlayStation games and stuff with them sometimes, but like I was fine with not playing those. Like I was fine with sticking with the Nintendo games that I had. I just always gravitated towards their game series, especially Zelda, because I think I always liked the fact that it was action adventure, but it wasn't gory. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like Like games that have like blood splattering graphically across the screen just do not appeal to me. Or games that feel too horror-ish. And I mean, Zelda feels like a horror game sometimes, honestly. Redeads. The Stalfos used to scare the shit out of the boys and I as kids. Like, actually, even as an adult, like, you just play the audio of that Redead screaming and it's just like, my whole body freezes up. Even like recently with Tears of the Kingdom, Gibdos, oh my god. The way that they crawl. It's so horrifying, man. Zelda manages to scare the shit out of you, but it's not a horror game. That's the point, that it's not off-putting. Like a game that's too realistic or too graphic, too gory, I don't enjoy those games. I like my games to be fun. Like I can't play horror games and I can't play games that make me feel uncomfortable because I'm playing video games to have fun, dude. This is a hobby. Like, I also don't like it when games are so incredibly difficult that it's like infuriating. Do you know what I mean? Nintendo games have a certain level of difficulty. They can be challenging, but they're never challenging enough that you feel like it's almost pointless, like you're never gonna be able to do it, or that you have to spend like 20 hours getting good so that you can beat the game. Like, it just, Nintendo games feel like they can be a hobby and they can be something that you thoroughly enjoy while also still feeling like, you know, they provide some challenge that you feel like it wasn't too easy. You know what I mean? I just always really loved Nintendo games. The Zelda series specifically. If I end up playing Link to the Past today, I'm not even gonna be surprised because that game I actually never finished. I was maybe like 8 years old max the last time I played it. I might have been younger. But I remember just being very confused because I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do. Like where to go from where I was, you know? It's just funny because it's like the older games, especially Nintendo ones. I can't speak for any other company outside of Nintendo, honestly, because I don't have as much experience with them. But it's like every time I pick up an old game, it's still just as fun to play as it was however long ago. And I think the fact that they stand the test of time as great games that are thoroughly enjoyable is what I think sets Nintendo apart in general, but also is what makes me thoroughly enjoy them, is because those games, when they're bought, it's like they're great when they were first released and they're going to be great in the future too. So it's like I feel like I'm getting my money's worth out of a Nintendo game, you know what I mean? For me, once I beat a game, I don't ever touch it again. I don't know if anyone else is like that. When it comes to Animal Crossing though, like I think that's the only game I can think of. But that's because it's like open-ended, right? Like there's no end to Animal Crossing. I talked about this a little bit in the episode where I played Animal Crossing, that New Horizons just didn't hit the same way and I got burnt out of it and bored very quickly. Whereas like Wild World arguably has a lot less content, and on paper you wouldn't think would be nearly as interesting or fun to play. That kept my attention every day after school for like 5 years straight. Like Twilight Princess, once I beat that, I never touched it again. Like every Mario game I've ever played, it's like once I've done it. Like Mario Odyssey recently, I did try to restart it recently because it'd been like a year since I played it or something like that. And I don't know what it is. It's like I can't get back into it, you know what I mean? Maybe it's because you already know what's gonna happen. Because that's what it is for movies. It's like once I've seen a movie, I know how it ends. So unless that movie's really, really good, I just won't really watch it again. Like I don't feel the need to see it a second time or a third time or any other time. Whereas it's like, I feel like video games are kind of the same way. Like once I know how it ends, I don't feel the need to go through that process again. There's nothing new to discover. There's no wow factor. It's like I'm just going through the motions almost. So there has to be a long time in between games that I will play something again. And so I think it's been long enough between when I was 8 and now at 27 to play A Link to the Past, and especially because I never actually beat that game. So I have no idea past a certain point what it's like, so I might restart that one and play that instead. And that is it for today's activity. For the final activity of the final episode of this series, I thought it would be fitting to just do something kind of chill and relaxed and nothing too fancy or too complicated. And especially because it is so long after and I just want to get this episode done and uploaded. You know, the fact that it's easy to do, it's been easy to film, kind of like get it all together so that I can throw it into the episode, and you know, that helps too. That was definitely a huge part of why I chose this activity, was because of how easy it would be to do it. But I do think it's a good fitting end to this series. So it's almost a shame that Breath of the Wild wasn't the first activity, because then I could have ended it the way that I started it, and I love shit like that. That could have been cool, but anyway, close enough, I guess. So that is it for today's activity, and I will see you in the next episode, I guess. And that is it for the final episode of Season 2. If you enjoyed this episode and haven't watched the rest of the series, I have all the episodes from Seasons 1 and 2 in a playlist here on my channel for easy watching. As with Season 1, I'll be doing a recap episode to finish things off, so that'll be up within a few weeks. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon.